if there are two HTML tags that every front-end developer uses every single day in every single project, it is these two. I'm just going to write it H1. It is div and span. Now, by the end of this video, you will understand exactly what they are and why they are so important. Now, today we are going to deal with div and span. In our previous video, we learned semantic HTML, how to structure a web page, how to structure a web page professionally using header. Can you see our header? I'm just going to go back to this. So, using header, nav, the main section. This is the main section, article, and then our footer. Today we are learning div and span, as you can see on our screen. Div and span. Those two tags, they work along semantic tags to give you complete control over your web page. We are going to visit our Google again. Now let's visit our Google and ask Google what div and span really is. So I'm just going to come here and ask div. So now it says the div, which is the division tag, is an essential HTML element that acts as a generic invisible container to a group and structure content on a web page. It has no default visual experience or semantic meaning until styled with CSS or manipulated with JavaScript. This is well explained, right? It is so well explained. Like it says here, it is generic, it is invisible, because once you create a div, your user cannot see it. They can only feel the effect, but they cannot see that it is a div, right? So it is an invisible container to group. It's also used to group and structure content on a web page. Now I can use my div to group two things, but all of these things cannot be effective until we start adding our CSS, and that is where the real fun comes in. So our CSS makes us know how important our HTML, all of these tags, they make it look effective. It is where how you start seeing the meaning of all of these tags. For now, you cannot still just go with the flow. For now, you cannot still feel it. Just let's keep learning, and then when we start the CSS, that is when you see the beauty of all of this. So the div tag, it stands for division, as our Google has said. So it's a container. I can call it container. I can call it a box, right? Whereby we can add a lot of things into it. It accommodates, it encapsulates a lot of things, right? So it's a box that holds other elements together. Like I said, now it has no visual appearance on its own, same as what this says. Now let's go back to our page, and now let's say div. Let's try it and say div. Like I said, it's just like a container. It's like a box. So now let's see this as a container. We can also call all of this a container, but let's just continue, right? So let's call this a container, and this is our div that we are starting. And now we can say h2 and say I am inside a div. Can you see? I'm inside a div, right? And I'm going to create a p and say everything in here is grouped together inside one container. Now you guys should save it and check your browser. It looks exactly the same, exactly the same as what we've been doing before. Even if I don't add a div to it, if it's just, I can decide to just copy, and I'm just going to duplicate this and bring it outside the div. And can you see that we still have the same results, right? We're still going to have the same results. You cannot see, can you see? It's still going to give me the same. So this is the one with div, and this is the one without div. It's still going to give me the same result. It looks exactly the same as without a div, because div has no styling on its own. But trust me, when we get to CSS next, the div is going to become your best friend. It's something you cannot do without whenever you start using CSS, right? It is how you create cards, it is how you create boxes, it is how you create columns, and layout on your web page. So you cannot do without a div in a web page. You'll see how important it is when we get to CSS. I know most of you are already anticipating for CSS, but just have a chill pill. Now let me show you how why div is so important again. Now I want you guys to imagine you building a web page with 3 cards, like a team page showing 3 people. So let's try that. Div, right? Just going to create another div and say h3 John, P, a paragraph, and front end developer, right? And just going to create, let me just give this one an horizontal, so that's going to create. So just going to create an anchor tag. I'm just going to give this a random anchor tag, right? And say view profile. So this is one, right? This is one card or one box. I'm going to create another box now. Should I give it an HR? I'm not sure if I should, but let's just try. And let me just leave it out and say another div. I'm just going to create another div, and in this div I'm going to do the same thing. So another one, say h3. I'm going to say Shola, right? And paragraph, I'm going to call it UI designer. I'll come here and create an anchor tag, just an hash, nothing serious, and then view profile again. And I'm just going to come out of the div again and create another div, which is another card or another box. I'm going to create I can see them here. I'm going to create another h3. I'm supposed to duplicate it, but I don't want to. I'm supposed to duplicate all of this and rename them, but I don't want to, so that you guys understand it properly. So paragraph and then backend developer, and then anchor tag, going to say our hash, and then view profile, right? Now we have John. We have 3 cards now. We have 3 cards, but it's still looking invisible, right? So right now they just sit on top of each other. But when we add CSS in the next phase, we are going to make these 3 divs sit side by side instead of being on an horizontal level like this. We are going to make it look horizontally, so that they are going to be side by side. And the only thing that can make this happen is the div, right? They are going to have their own cards on the screen. The div is what makes that happen, nothing more. Because if you can see that they are looking naked right now. They are not naked in the actual sense, because they have the div containing them. They have the div, but it is actually looking empty. It is looking naked. But it is when we start applying our CSS, that is when you know that it is not naked. They're actually in a box. So we can actually call this box, like you can say it is a transparent box. You can call it anything you want to call it. But once we add our CSS, it makes it you can add any color, you can give it anything to make the box look not really naked like that. So almost every layout you see on every website, the columns, the card, the grid, they're all built using divs. So this is one of the most important things you will learn in the entire series. That is the div for you. Now let's talk about span, right? And now I'm coming here 42%. Now I'm going to come back to our Google and ask Google, right? Now we are going to say span. Now, oh, sorry, this is giving me, oh, let me try using capital small letter span. Now let me say span in HTML. That would do. Span is actually it is similar to div, but there is one key difference. Div is a block element. It takes up the full width of the page and starts on a new line, while span is an inline element. It sits inside a line of text without breaking it onto a new line. So I'm just going to make an example of that for you, but let's read what Google says, right? So the span tag is a generic you see, I just spoke about inline now, right? So it's a generic inline container used to mark up or isolate a specific part of text or document, right? So it has no semantic meaning or inherent visual impact on its own. Developers use it alongside global attributes like class, ID, or style to target and format content via CSS or manipulate it using JavaScript, right? So it's just, most people use it interchangeably with the div elements, but they have slight differences. So let's proceed. I'm not coming back here. I'm going to create an horizontal line just to differentiate it, and now I'm going to say span. No, let's give it an H1 and say span, just to now there's something again. Think of span as, if div is a card box, span is just like highlighter, something you use in highlighting. So like the way I just did, I'm going to do here now. So let's say span is like that, right? So you use it to target a specific word or a phrase inside a line of text. Do you get something like this? Do you get? So that is span. Let's try something. Now I'm going to say P, right? And I'm saying I am learning. Should I let me create a span here, and yeah, I'm now going to say I'm learning front end. Taking this back, front end development. Let's say because we are one community on our own, so we are learning front end development. And this is going to, the next text is going to be out of the span and say I am really enjoying it, right? Or we are really enjoying it. Just yeah, really enjoying it. I want you guys to save what we just did and see that it's in your browser. It still does not have any effect, just like the way div does not have any effect until when we start using our CSS. Now we can target that. We can target that span and style for just those specific words differently from the rest of the paragraph. For example, making specific words a different color, right? I can decide to make this P tag a specific color, or this span itself a specific color, a different size, or a different font, all without affecting the rest of this text. So I can decide to single-handedly use this front-end development. It's just like an highlight, like I said earlier. You can just decide to style this CSS, this using, create a CSS for it and then style it, and it will be very different from what the rest of the text, like we are learning and we are really enjoying. So the front-end development will just be standing alone and be emphasized on. So now we are going to talk about the class and ID attributes, and this is so very important because we are all of this we are doing now, we are preparing ourselves for CSS, because we will soon start using our CSS. So we are doing all of this. It is this this tag, let me just write it down so that you guys will see it. It is so important in our CSS. So I'm just going to say h1 and say a class and id attributes, right? Now here is where the div and span becomes truly powerful. Like I said earlier, we use something called class and id, right, to label our divs and span so we can target them in our CSS later. It makes the CSS, it helps our CSS work fine in our HTML structure. Now a class, or a class is a label you can give to multiple elements, and it is, this class is so powerful, and it is in our ID as well. Yeah, our ID is a unique label for one specific element. You can just label a specific element, just like our ID card, right? Our ID card is just for us. It is just for one person. A person cannot have the same ID card. It's not possible. Or matric number. A matric number cannot have two owners. It can just have just one owner. So that is just like an ID. So ID is a unique element for just one particular thing, one particular div or a particular element you get. But class can be shared. Class can be shared in between different users or different divs or different elements. Now let's do that. Let's experiment that, and let's know how beautiful this looks. So now I'm going to create a div. Like can we just use the example we used here instead of retyping? I'm just going to bring this. I'm just going to copy this, right, and paste it here. Now in this div, the difference between what we have here that I just pasted and what we have here, now I'm going to show you something. I'm just going to, in this div, we have opening and closing tags now. Now in the opening div, right, I'm just going to create a class here, a class, and call it card, right? And I can as well come here and create another class and call it the same name, card, right? But this other div, I can decide to give it just an ID and say maybe hero, I'm not sure, maybe let's say hero section, right? So here we all know that hero section cannot be two in a website. We just have one hero section, and we cannot have two heads, right? So ID is a very unique thing, and in this particular name I can decide to create another div right now. I can give it a name and say John. Oh no, not John. We already have a John. So let's say Tolani. Let's say Tolani, right? So I have Tolani here now. I cannot give Tolani and Michael. Let me show you. So I cannot give Tolani and Michael the same ID name. It's not possible. They might have ID, right? But I can just say hero. Is that I say hero, or I just say I can just give it a random another name, another unique name that any other maybe class or another ID cannot share with it. So I can just decide to say I'm looking for something beautiful to use. Maybe I can just say, maybe I can just give it a random name like card 5, and let me just card 5, right? And this card 5 would not be shared between any other class or any other ID. It has to be unique. The same way this hero section has to be unique. The ID for this same div, which is card 5, has to be unique. You cannot share this name card 5 with any other ID or any other class. But that is what class makes, that makes it different from class. Class can be shared. As the way I gave this card, now I gave this class, this div, I gave it a class of card. I can as well give this particular div another class, that same name, card. They can share the same class name. Do you understand? If I say card 1, card 1, I can as well name this to card 1. Do you understand? So class, that's the difference between class and ID. Class and ID are so different. So these two classes that shares the same name, they can actually share the same name, and that means that in my CSS I can style both. And when I style both, they're having different content, but they are going to give me the same styling appearance. They are going to appear the same way because they are sharing the same class name. Do Do you understand? But in this aspect of ID, right, if I should call out this in my CSS, if I should call it and I give it a particular styling, it should have that styling. It's not sharing it with any other thing, right? Same as the ID and the card 5 ID. If I should style it, it's just going to work for this particular div. It's not going to work for any other div anymore. Do you understand? But these two cards, I can decide to just call just one card 1. I can give multiple divs, 100 divs, just one class name. So once I create a CSS tag for card 1, it's going to have effect on all of those divs. As far as that div have, for instance, now let me give you another example, and I'm just going to paste this here, and I'm going to give it this class and say no. Right now I don't want to give it a class. I just want to make a point here. So right now, if I should call this card 1 in multiple ways, in multiple cards, maybe in hundreds of divs, if I should call it, that card 1 is going to have effect on all of those divs that I've called, but it cannot have effect on this particular div because I did not call. If you are surprised that why is this particular card having all of these cards having the same styling, but this is not having any effect on this particular div or this particular card, it is because you have not called in this class in this div. Not until you call it and say class and then say card 1, that is when that style is going to have effect on this particular card, on this particular div. I hope you guys understand that. I hope I'm being explanatory. So you don't need to fully understand this yet. We are going to go deeper and start CSS, not in our next class though, but we are taking it one step at a time. But I'm assuring you that soonest we are getting closer to CSS. So I want you to start saying class and ID in your HTML now, so so it is not very new to you. When we get there, you are already going to get used to class and ID. It is so very important. Now, one question beginners always ask is, when do I use div and when do I use semantic tag like section or article? And it's a very good question because that is where the confusion starts. Now, I want you guys to note this, that use semantic tag when the content has a clear meaning. For instance, like the navigation, this navigation now, it has a clear meaning, right? So if you say div here now, in this, let me break it down so that let's just break here. So if you say div, if you call this a div now, it's just giving a generic meaning that it is just an ordinary div. But if you name it nav, anybody checking your code now would know that yes, and the browser is already active and is already aware that this is a navigation bar. So though it would as well work if you use div, it would work if you use ordinary does, but it is just the power of semantic tag, right? It structure your code according to their importance and how you've named it in your code. So just like navigation, just like menu, yeah. When you click on a menu, let me see if that menu can work here. Let me look for the website. I think this is a website, right? So this is one menu now. So this menu now, it has its own, right? So you can just like a footer or a blog post. So use a div when you just need a container for layout purpose, just for layout purpose, nothing serious. Maybe you don't know what you need a container, right? With no specific meaning, you just need a container, just a random container. Then you can use a div, right? So in real projects, you will see and use both together: semantic tags for structure and meaning, divs for layout and grouping, right? So or for container, for layout, for grouping, and also that is how it looks. I want you guys to save your code and then look at your browser. I want you guys to observe, calm down, check, practicalize it, explore, and it looks simple right now, but look at your code. It's kind of organized, right? Though we've not really gotten we are still learning all of this, but once you sit down and practice, you'll see how important all of them is. So today we learned about div, a block container used to group and organize elements for layouts. We talked about span, an inline container used to target to target a specific word or phrase inside text. We also introduce class and ID attributes, which we will use heavily when we start learning our CSS. Now, these two tags are used in every single real project you will build, right from starting from now, since you've already known your div and span. And I want to give you guys a homework. I want you guys to go back to your profile page and wrap different sections in divs. Give each div a class name, right? A class name that describes what it contains. This is going to prepare you perfectly for CSS. And once CSS starts, it's for someone that have not been practicing, it might look difficult, but once you are already familiar with your HTML structure, it is the foundation. It is the foundational knowledge you should have. So CSS would not be any problem for you once you start CSS, right? So in our next video, we are going to cover HTML tables. I want you guys to be prepared for tables. So how to display data in rows and columns. Then after that, we begin our CSS. So I want you guys to subscribe to my channel. I want you guys to engage, comment, and share this beautiful post to your friends, your relatives, so that they can as well benefit from them. You don't want to benefit this alone. I want you guys to share for people to have their skills as well. See you guys in the next one. Bye.